Hello guys, and welcome back again to another episode of The Last of Us, episode 6. Guys, the story is absolutely being told beautiful at the moment. I love the character development with this episode with Joel and Ellie, who are absolutely, the actor and actresses are absolutely nailing this performance. It is pretty much a perfect episode. It's also, it's probably one of my favourites so far, so I think you can guess the score I might be giving this at the end. Okay, so it starts off at the beginning with Joel and Ellie finding some old couple in a shack somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We all know about the cabin in the woods story, but thankfully this doesn't go there like just yet. We're going to meet some people further on in the season that are going to be pretty much changing this, but we actually meet I don't even think it tells their name, it's just an elderly couple. Joel and Ellie have been on the road now for I think a couple of months. It's actually, this bit's a little bit different. These characters are not in the game, and also the snow season hasn't set in, like the winter part of the game yet hasn't set in. In fact, when we arrive at the settlement, Jackson, we don't even see the settlement at first. What we actually see is the dam, and this is where he meets Tommy and his wife, and basically the whole game takes place, this part takes place in on the part that is actually the dam, and obviously there's some things to fix and stuff like that, and Joel and Ellie go off, do some side quests. But there's a great bit in this when Joel's actually searching and he finds a note kind of similar to what you find in the game, and you read a little bit of backstory of other people that's been going on. I love the fine detail in this episode. This is probably putting dialogue from the game in this episode more than what they do in any other episodes so far. So there's some great interactions, and the character development is really cool. We get that really cool interaction part when he finally meets Tommy. Now, Tommy's doing well for himself, and Joel is kind of, I think, a little bit put back. Obviously, he has problems, what we think at the start is with his heart, but Joel's starting to realise that he's getting a bit too old for this shit. Really? So just call it a day here. Stay in Jackson, beautiful place, great place for Ellie to grow up. She would have friends there, but obviously they have a mission. Joel has a promise to test to continue going on in this mission, and he meets Tommy, and like I said, Tommy's doing really well. He's got a child on the way, he's settled, but Joel feels like he's a bit too old for this shit, and he wants to basically pass Ellie off onto Tommy, and Tommy take her to the Fireflies. But obviously he has this discussion, he has kind of a heart-to-heart with Tommy. Tommy says he's doing well, but then he pulls Ellie's immune out of the card, and he knows that this would mean that Tommy would do the right thing and offer his service to take Ellie, and they would go forward to the university where they believe the Fireflies are location. Now, it's quite a slow episode, but it's a slow episode that is done well with purpose, good character development. There's no action in it, well, not much. Excuse me. There's not much action, but the action is with the development with the characters themselves. Now, Joel's still got this Ellie, you don't know what loss is attitude, but the next episode is going to be called Left Behind, which actually, if you've played the game, you know the DLC is Left Behind, and you know that Joel's going to finally find out Ellie has actually experienced some quite dramatic loss in her life. Technically, Joel is the only one that's ever been there for her, so to actually palm her off onto Tommy actually upsets Ellie, and she's like, do you know what? Do what the fuck you need to do, and you know, I'll just go along to the Fireflies. Now, Ellie finds struggle in actually sitting there watching the movies and reading about what things did in the past, because things that happened in the past are not really relevant to what's happening now and how she's growing up. She's growing up with Fedra, she's been in compound, she's been kept away from this world that is outside, and now she's reading about the past world, and it seems pretty pointless to her, and she struggles with understanding why the fuck did they really care about boyfriends, what they were wearing, what movies. It had no meaning to her. So obviously she now understands what her mission is, and her mission is to go to the Fireflies. And there's that really perfect part when I said, when she mentions Joel's daughter, and basically Joel is like, I'm not your dad, you're not my daughter, you have never known suffering, you do not know what loss is. And like I said, she does. But Joel just doesn't see it because he's suffered more, because he lost his daughter, which I understand is a very, very hard thing to come to terms with, but life goes on and he has to learn to get this bond with Ellie. So in the end, Joel actually decides to take Ellie to the university. The university in the game plays out a little bit longer. The action scenes are obviously a little bit more in depth. The monkeys are there though, which is a fantastic thing to add, because it's important. Ellie's never seen monkeys, and Joel's like, you never seen a monkey before? And Ellie's like, well, obviously no, I've been in Fedra for all my life. But then you get the part that comes to the ending, and it's with Joel. It's done different in the game. Joel opens the door, he gets into a fight, he falls over the door, over the balcony, and gets impaled on spikes, and then Ellie pulls him up and she gets him onto the horse. Now in the show, basically Joel just gets attacked in a very minute action scene and he gets stabbed. Now whether these people are part of the group that are coming into it next, I'm not sure, but I'd like to believe that they probably are. Now Eddie, obviously Joel's on the floor, and he falls off the horse first, yeah, onto the floor, and then he realises she really needs Joel. It's like she doesn't know where the hell she's going, what she's doing. There's beautiful scenes in this now when Joel is teaching her how to hunt, how to shoot, which is going to be very important for the next not next episode, the episode after, so episode 8. And because now Joel is injured, Ellie's going to have to do all the shit. She's the one that's going to have to hunt. She's going to have to find medical supplies for Joel. She's going to have to keep him safe, keep him in a quiet location because of another group that's going to come into it. And this is technically when the episode's finished. Guys, like I said, for character development in this episode, it's a straight 10. Yeah, the episode was amazing. We met Tommy, we met Jackson, where they should have stayed, but obviously they don't. But later on, spoilers, they will come back to Jackson, and this will eventually become their home until season 2. Guys, I love this show. It's developing well. Each episode for me is getting better and better, but I scored the last episode a 10, so this one has to be a 10. I've also been watching Vikings season 2 episode 1, and I might start reviewing this as well. This is Vikings Valhalla, not the original fantastic show, but Valhalla is also proving to be a great show with great characters. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this very quick review, with spoilers obviously. I am going to start working on the Evil Dead review, but I'm learning Adobe Premiere Pro rather than what I've been using, so hopefully I can put out a better episode and start getting more and more used to editing more interesting stuff and better stuff for you guys. Okay, thank you yet again. I see you next week. Maybe I try and get Evil Dead review up sometime then, but if not, check this out next week. The Last of Us episode 7, Left Behind. Thank you and goodbye.